larger than a half mile and shorter than a mile you could probably find in the United States.
You know, it most certainly is. And, you know, you kind of think about the coolness of this facility. It's either a big Richmond or a really short super speedway. It's either a big Richmond or a short Michigan, depending on how you want to look at it. D-shaped, like the aforementioned two tracks. Racing a car here, though, especially in IndyCar, it's the old Eddie Cheever adage. It's kind of like trying to fly a jet fighter in a gymnasium. The speeds here are absolutely tremendously quick, and we'll show you some of those speeds here as we go through the qualifying run. We do have quite a few familiar faces. We've also got a couple of new names that we're going to shout out tonight. We'll get on the roll bar, jump in with Kyle Clinworth as he completes his lap. There's Clindy, and no surprise, he's going to jump up to the pole position. We'll get on board with Matt Wagner, and let's see some of those speeds, Ryan. 185, touches 186 down the back. He's going to pull it low down through turns 3 and 4. And here comes Matty Wags. He's going to cross the line. He's going to hit 190 miles an hour as he hauls off into turn 1. And that gives you an idea of just how quick they are transversing this racetrack. Clindy's pole lap right now, Ryan, 17.192 seconds. That's fast.
Yeah, and pretty much, should everyone complete their qualifying lap clean, everyone will have a sub 18-second lap time.
Now, just so everybody's clear, we are going faster than the track record here. The record for an IndyCar set by Ryan Briscoe in 2008. That was 17.4908. Pretty much everybody in the top, everybody in the top 4 is quicker than that right now, and so we are seeing the track record broken. Of course, the thing with the sim in this scan, Ryan, this is not the current Iowa asphalt. When this track was scanned, the track was much smoother. Now they've got the patches in the corner. The rest of the surface has not been replaced since the facility was opened in the late 2000s, 2009. 2007 actually was the first race here. They haven't repaved it. And Iowa, harsh winters, it gets bumpy out there, brother.
Yeah, it's either you have a ton of grip because the track is nice and worn in, or you have no grip because you hit a bump and the tire isn't touching the ground anymore.
Yeah, we're going to see that a lot, especially this version of Iowa without the track being patched. And you kind of saw it because Andrew Surawak went over it there. Because this version hasn't been patched. It's not the newest surface. You can have multi-groove anywhere between 2 and 3 lines are viable here at Iowa. You know, you kind of see the facility there from the blimp. You know, there are a lot of different places that there are a lot of different lines that you can go through. And one of the things that we're going to see, that our fans are going to see tonight, is those 3 lanes. You get to the top, especially in turn number 1, there is a massive bump up there, and it will actually, if you look at the telemetry, Ryan, it will lift all 4 wheels off the ground.
Yeah, if you're not prepped for it, you will put yourself into the safer barrier.
Most certainly so, and I'll tell you who's going to be putting themselves on the line tonight. We've got 17 cars signed in, Ryan. Good late showing, and let's go ahead and see our starting grid on the pole. And I don't think this is much of a surprise. With a lap of 186.069 miles an hour, that's Kyle Clinworth. To his outside is going to be Alex Miller. On row 2, Frank Wynn and Josh Ward. Yari Brubaker and Matt Wagner will make up row 3. Jeff Heisong, Turner Johnson, row 4. Lith Fox and Eric Peterson going to round out your top 10. Andrew Surawak, he will be 11th. Nick Wheeler, 12th. Walter Macias, 13th. Let's give a shout out to Mark Cohn. My good friend Mark Cohn, this is his first race in the series this year, and really one of his first races back after a long break. He's been focusing on some touring cars. Give old MC a shout, 14th quick. Hugo Gallows 15th, Mason Mitchum 16th, and shotgun on the field with no time going to be Joseph Morales. And that's the starting field. 17 cars here for the event here tonight at Iowa. One of the things that we do kind of want to point out for our fans is the weather. Iowa's really cold in the winter, Ryan, but you know what it is in the summer?
Broiling hot.
It is hot. Right now we're looking at 72 degrees on the track, 72 degrees in the air, 114 degrees on the track. Humidity 32%, that will not be a factor, and neither will the wind. It's out of the southeast at about 7 miles an hour. That's blowing across the track, so we're going to have a light breeze, but that's not going to really be enough to upset the cars, I wouldn't think. It's going to
I think it'll be calm enough. We won't see anyone getting loose or tight over it.
We shouldn't. What we might see is perhaps a little bit of car being free going into turn 3. You might see a little bit of understeer going into turn number 1, but it shouldn't be too bad at 5-6 miles an hour. We're rolling them off and we're getting ready to come to green. Ryan, this is going to go pretty quick. Laps in the 20-second range. This thing has the potential to be over just as fast as it starts. But beware the cautions, my man. Beware the cautions.
Yeah, it's all going to be about how to contend with the caution, how to work your pit strategy around it, ensure that you're on the freshest tires possible.
It can, and Iowa's often a track where the caution flag almost can dictate or pick the winner, depending on whether you run short or you're long on your pit strategy. That can dictate whether or not you win the race. You're going to go at least 2 laps down here if you pit under green, and so the shortstop is huge advantage. Is advantage you, Ryan, because you're going to come out. You're going to be mega quick on those new stones. But you better hope it cycles all the way through. You catch a caution in the middle of that cycle, and your night is effectively done.
It is partly the complaints you see about IndyCar kind of being determined by luck is stuff like that, where you have to be quick on your feet.
You do indeed. Do want to give a shout out to all of our loyal viewers in the audience tonight. Paula Scory, she's checking in, cheering on Clindy. Will Stearns, we wish you were here. We wish you were here too, pal. It's always good to see you in the field. Will Stearns taking the night off this evening. The pace car is going to come on in, and we are going to be racing here at Iowa. Barney is going to throw the green flag, and away we go. Clindy, huge jump off the start, field safely across the line. Through turns 1 and 2 we go.
Field gets through the first 2 corners fine, and the 3 and 4. It usually takes about a lap to get up to full speed, and then you really feel the effects of the dirty air in your hands on the wheel.
You most certainly do, and a guy that's taking advantage of some clean air right now, that's Frank Wynn. He's taking to the high side almost immediately. Alex Miller, he's choosing to follow right in the tire tracks of the number 11 of Kyle Clinworth. Clindy sets the fastest lap, but Frank Wynn already moving toward the top side. He's up in the handsome Harry Gant groove, working the wall up there, trying to find some clean air, trying to find some room. The top 4 have effectively put some distance between themselves and Yari Brubaker, who runs 5th. There you see him. Nearest battle on the track is going to be Matt Wagner and Andrew Surwack. Surwack and Wags, they're having it out right now for 9th and 10th. Surwack has the top side, and usually, Ryan, that is a massive advantage here at Iowa if you can get up on the top of somebody.
Yeah, without a doubt, especially in 3 and 4, because you get to use that momentum to effectively just slingshot your car down the longer front straight.
You most certainly do. One of my finest or most proud moments, Lith Fox taking it to Turner Johnson. Lith went down to the bottom to try to make that pass. Turner Johnson up to the top, and it's going to be very difficult for Lith Fox to complete that move. Can't do it. Lith Fox is going to fall back into 7th place. Meanwhile, we'll go back to the front. Alex Miller, he is not really pressuring Clindy. Frank Wynn has set the fastest lap. Frank Wynn, though, not really pressuring Alex Miller. I got to think even at this early stage, we thought that they might be able to do between 60 and 70 laps. I wonder how much fuel saving is going on out there, Ryan. See who can turn this baby into a one-stopper.
Because the field is quickly thinned out, meaning that, fingers crossed, there isn't a caution. The likelihood of a caution goes down exponentially if you're just thinned down the line, and you might as well just start saving fuel if you're not catching anyone and just hope you can ride out an entire green flag stint.
Most certainly so. We are gonna monitor traffic. That is one of the things that always rears its head at these short ovals. Joseph Morales right now is shotgun on the field. Meanwhile, we've got Mason Mitchum working on Walter Macias. That's Macias to the bottom in the cool machine. Mason Mitchum on the top, and that just illustrates how hard it is. Walter had a great run to the bottom, couldn't quite make it work. Now he's going to go to the top side, and you'll see how much of a run he gets. But the bottom here is almost fool's gold, Ryan, and by that, I mean this. There was a race spot anniversary race here that I competed in, finished 3rd, and managed to take the last step of the podium off of some guy named Chris Demerit, who I hear is pretty good. And Chris and I ran the last 50 laps of the race locked, side by side, me on the top, him on the bottom, plenty of room given. But he could not pass me, even though he was, by all accounts, on a vastly superior setup, and he had superior tires, and couldn't get it done just because I was able to hold on to that top side, hold the momentum, and deny him the ability to exit the corners. Macias goes around Mason Mitchum. That'll put him 15th. But that's a great illustration of that right there.
Yeah, and as you explained, yes, on paper, running the bottom line is the fastest, but that's only if we're able to drive off the corner up to the wall. If you can't do that, you're gonna lose so much time, trying to compensate.
Yeah, you most certainly will. Checking in on Eric Peterson. He runs in 8th currently. He's got Turner Johnson dead ahead of him. You see Lith Fox up ahead in 6th. That battle for 6th has abated. Lith Fox has found his way around Turner Johnson. Turner Johnson not under fire from Eric Peterson, but I'll tell you who's under fire. That's Peterson. He's got Andrew Surowack all over his backside working, and we do want to go check in the lead because these 3 at the front are super tight. Alex Miller all over the back of Kyle Clinworth looking for a way around. And you see the 4th car in line there. That's Josh Ward. He has joined this fight as well. The top 4 really covered by about 0.3 of a second, 0.4 of a second. When you think about it, that's pretty doggone close on a 7/8 mile track.
It's pretty close, and they are moving at a quick click because they're leaving the rest of the field behind.
They most certainly are. You've got a really big gap back to Jari Brubaker, and this is what Yari's seeing. He's got a kind of a pretty good seat for this fight for the lead right here. There's the front 4. We're riding on board. 5th place, Jari Brubaker. We'll take a look out of his left eyeball and show you what he sees. But they're quite a ways up there. You get on Yari's gearbox, and really there's not much back there. You got Lith Fox within 0.8, and then it's another 0.8 back to Turner Johnson. The next fight on the track is the 3 cars you see behind them. That's Johnson, Peterson, and Surowack, and then you've got better than a second back to Matt Wagner to round out the top 10. And there's Matty Wags. I was going to say, Ryan, too, we pointed out Mark Cohn. He is making his debut in the series. Good friend of mine, good friend of Matt Wagner's. It's good to see Mark on the course, just enjoying himself. That's a guy who is going to be a sleeper once he gets back into it. We'll show that car up a little bit closer. That's a guy that's going to be a pretty big sleeper when it comes down to time to run for this thing next year. Fans, that if you look at the logos on the side of that car, that is a long time Lionheart IndyCar Series competitor right there, Mark Cohn. Now that we've given MC his due, we'll get back to the fight for the lead. It's spread out just a little bit. Clindy and Alex Miller have pulled away ever so slightly from Frank Wynn and Josh Ward. Wynn and Ward are having a tussle over that third spot, Ryan.
Yeah, that seems to be where the hardest fighting is going on.
It most certainly is. I think mostly everybody, as you see, Ward continues to make that dive to the bottom of the track. He just doesn't have enough on exit to keep himself alongside Frank Wynn. What you want to do ideally, if you're going to make a pass down there, you don't want to do it right on the line. You want to do it kind of like Ward did it right there. You want to enter in that second lane, and even then, it's just so hard to get the drive off the corner because, Ryan, when you're trying to pinch that car down like that, you burn the right front off in a hurry.
Yeah, you have to use it sparingly, or you really shorten your tire stint, so to speak, where yes, you have the fuel to run longer, but you're losing so much lap time circling the track that you're hurting your race long term.
Most certainly. So we're looking at 140 lapper here tonight, Ryan. Divide that into three, and we would think that those on the two-stop strategy are going to stop around lap 47. So we're inching up for the wind. We're inching up to that window being open. Now the cars can run a lot longer than 47 laps on fuel. Again, we speculated they could go as many as 60 to 80 laps, depending on how they choose to approach it. But if you're going to make two stops, lap 47 is the number, Mr. Ryan Eric King.
Yeah, I think with the race being green for so long, people are going to get lulled into that sense that they could just keep going, keep taking off laps and not lose time, which should work as long as no one else does the two-stop strategy. You're kind of betting on no one coming in.
Well, the thing that you're looking at, and this is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the timing sheet right here. Kyle Clinworth, his best lap 18.017. He's fallen off a half a second, right? 32 laps into this thing. And so if you're able to come in and get some freshies and you're able to do that, quicker than everybody else, you're going to be a half a second a lap quicker for as many as 20 to 25 laps maybe. Now, is that enough? It's not enough to unlap yourself. Lap here is 18.5 right now. It's not enough to unlap yourself, but we'll see, because that's going to be the interesting thing here. They've got enough gas to maybe make it a one-stop or maybe make it close, but there's definitely going to be somebody that stops at lap 47. At least I would think somebody's going to try it, Ryan.
Yeah, someone would try it, and you say it's not enough to unlap yourself, but by the time everyone comes in for their one stop, you'll have a sizable lead on the field.
You would, and the strategy here at Iowa is as soon as you leave the pit lane, if caution comes out, you're coming back in to get some new tires. Just one lap is enough here to hurt them. It's kind of like Darlington in a stock car. We're working lap 36, coming to get 37. We're looking at the leaders. That's Kyle Clinworth, Alex Miller, Frank Wynn, your top three. Josh Ward continues to attempt to take third off of Frank Wynn. He is fourth. We'll kind of roll through the field here and give everybody an idea of who's here. Take a look at Yari Brubaker there. He runs along in fourth. There's Yari. Fifth. Lith Fox is going to be sixth in the Fox box. Good look at Lith Fox's machine. Turner Johnson for the Votive Racing League. He runs seventh. Matt Wagner, another one of his retro schemes, Rockwell Automation. He is eighth. Eric Peterson in the Dark Horse entry is ninth. There's Eric. And right alongside him, Andrew Surowiec for Gatorade is 10th. And we're going to get out of here and look at this battle because it's a good one. Peterson on the top, Surowiec on the bottom. Andrew Surowiec is not giving up nearly as much as some of the other people who have gone down there. Peterson gives him plenty of room on exit. But Surowiec has been able to maintain that inside position, and he's finally going to be clear. No.
Not quite.
There you see it. Now he's got him. So right on the right side pod of Andrew Surowiec, looking back at Eric Peterson. Surowiec takes away the 9th position. Peterson is going to be relegated to 10th. Go back a little bit further. You've got Hugo Galez in the Velocity Online Racing machine. Good looking car. Bronze. Is that bronze or orange, or what would you classify that, Ryan?
I'd say orange.
You'd say orange? I think that's accurate. Good looking car nonetheless. Julian does turn out.
We should point out that Peterson did come into pit after he was passed.
Yep, Eric Peterson is on pit lane, and he's right on the edge of that window. Certainly, he's going to go for the two-stopper. Nick Wheeler is going to be 11th. That's another Votive Racing League entry. There's Nick. Jeff Hysong has also made it onto pit road as we look at Walter Macias. He is 12th. The aforementioned Mark Cohn is 13th. Sim Gaming Expo. And that's going to be a fun deal. I know that many of the guys who run in this series, a lot of us from P1 Broadcasting are going to be in Chicago. That first weekend in September. You going, Ryan? You going to join us?
We plans at the moment. I'll think about it because I think it falls the same weekend as the IndyCar race in Milwaukee.
I think it might be the week after, but if that is, it'll be a busy
weekend after. I could do both.
There you go, Mason Mitchum. He is 14th in another Votive Racing League machine. Joseph Morales for Slime Time and Cannon. He's made it up to 15th. Eric Peterson and Jeff Hysong. Here's Hysong. We've shown Peterson. There's Hysong in the In-N-Out Burgers number 18. He is 17th. All 17 cars are running. All 17 cars are at what I would say, Ryan, they're on the correct strategy. Morales has gone a lap down naturally. Everybody else, though, Clindy here is working through traffic. He's pulled up on the back of Mason Mitchum. It's either going to be one stop or two. Peterson, Hysong have made their bet.
Yeah, they've made their bet. And right now, if, say, we go 20, 30 more laps and then there's a caution, everyone still has a chance to win this race. Like,
oh, heck yeah. Well, and look, here's Eric Peterson. He's out running around. He's got traffic in front of him in the form of Nick Wheeler. He'll dive down and make that pass. Eric Peterson last time through 18.347. Kyle Clinworth 18.708. So Eric Peterson is coming. If this cycles all the way through, and we'll get back to Clindy, he has cleared his traffic, and I don't believe he's got anybody else up in front of him. So smooth sailing there for Clinworth. Peterson is picking up anywhere between 2 and 3/10 a lap, Ryan. And, you know, if this thing cycles all the way through, we're looking at Mark Cohn, I believe, is going to come to pit road. There's Cohn. He'll make his pit stop. He went 52 laps, so kind of splitting the difference, 50, 50, 40, something like that. But just when he feels the tires go off, the battle between Ward and Wynn continues to rage. We're going to flip back to that. But this thing stays green through that cycle. Eric Peterson is going to be the leader.
Yeah, and it is something that you wouldn't expect to see heading in, but that's how pit strategy works. If you're on the faster strategy, it doesn't matter what your typical lap pace is, you could find your way to the front.
Yeah, most certainly so. And look, you know, if I'm a guy that's running along 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, like Peterson, like Hysong, like Mark Cohn, you know, just at the end of or just outside the top 10, why not come on and get me some tires and just think, look, Clindy is going to have to stop. And when he stops, we're going to cycle all the way to the front. Mason Mitchum is, well, his numbers went way red on the timing screen. I thought maybe he had trouble, so I clicked on him. Mitchum is okay. Battle for position on the track, though, still remains the best one right here, third and fourth. Frank Wynn still doggedly holds the top. We got caution on the speedway. It's going to be Turner Johnson.
Yeah, I thought Turner Johnson called to come down pit lane. I wonder. Oh, no.
Let's see what we've got for Turner Johnson. Here he is. He's coming down the backstretch. And you had said it. He was going to make a call to go to pit lane. There goes the red and black votive entry. And what have we got here, Ryan? He's going to make the hard turn down and doesn't quite get there, and he'll just Alt F4 to try to avoid. Well, he's going to spin it and then immediately tow, but by now the caution is already out. So hijinks getting on the pit lane here at Iowa, and that's another thing. This track is very difficult to pit from. Matty Wagner had talked about, and Andrew Surwack has a black flag. So we'll get back to that here in just a second. That's going to be speeding on entry to pit lane. So he'll get the hold here. He shouldn't lose a lap, but that's going to put him at the tail end of the line. You gotta ask the question, Ryan. I believe I had heard that we were supposed to be pitting from turn 3 here. I believe I had heard that.
Yes, you're supposed to pit from turn 3 before the double yellow down the back straight. Well, at the start of the back straight start. So you're supposed to be on the left-hand side of the double yellow line, and Turner Johnson went all the way around 3 and 4 and tried to enter from the exit of 4, which is explicitly against the rules tonight and would have been penalized if he had hit pit lane.
Yeah, there you go. Matty Wagner, the series director, had made that very clear in the Discord. It was going to be a drive-through penalty if you miss that mark, and so just to kind of elaborate on that, do want to point out Mitchum, Peterson, Hysong, that whole crew had gone 2 laps down. Mark Cohn, that is not what they wanted to see, a caution flag right there. They go 2 laps down. Now they're going to take the wave. They're going to be 1 lap down. Turner Johnson remains on pit road. He is 3 laps down. I didn't see any damage there, but that's likely the tow. You're going to see these cars get waved around, but that's pretty much put paid to their evenings, Ryan.
Yeah, and race control has decided to black flag Turner Johnson.
Yes, they have, and that would be the aforementioned drive-through penalty. It's worth mentioning Andrew Surwack also under the long arm of the law. He received a black flag on pit entry. We can only assume that is speeding on the pit lane. So we're under caution. 60 laps of 140 complete here in the Horizon IndyCar Series at the Iowa Speedway. Do want to give a shout out to all of our fans watching. Another great crowd here on hand to witness this one. And Ryan, as we always do, we want to remind those fans, and we know that about half of you have not done so, make sure you ring the bell, subscribe to the channel. We are closing in on that magic 1,000, and when we get there, I hear there's a rattle can and some spray paint that's gonna happen on the number 11 entry.
Maybe.
He's gonna let me paint it. That's the trick, right?
Green, green, green.
Now, it is worth pointing out, everybody in the field that had not stopped under that caution has already done so, or right, that hadn't stopped under green has already done so. Turner Johnson has served his black flag. Andrew Surwack has had his cleared. And so Surlack remains in the 9th position. Just to point that out. But we're effectively reset. And this basically makes it a sprint. I don't think there's any way we anticipated, as Clindy goes fastest, I don't think there's any way that we anticipated, Ryan, that you could do 80 laps, even with some caution.
Yeah, 80 laps is on the very edge of the window. You could make it on fuel, but it'll be a bit frustrating on tires near the end. But there's not really a comfortable point to come in halfway through, say 40 laps in the stint, pit for tires, and try to make up that time. It's not viable.
No, it's not. And look, we're going to go back and flop back to Alex Miller, Frank Wynn, Josh Ward. Clindy is pulling away from this crew pretty quickly, 0.3 of a second a lap. So Clinworth, he's decided it's not going to be it's not going to be a fuel save anymore. He's going to go for it. And the lap times would indicate that pretty much everybody else is in that same boat. But it's worth pointing out, I think you can do, I think that most that I've seen done here is 84 laps. And that was with 100%. That was fully fuel mapping, and that was me in the IES race here last year, is what I'm thinking. So at 85% fuel, they might be able to do 70 at the edge, but it's going to be awfully, awfully close. And you'd have to commit to it and run very slowly the entire time.
And that is not happening at the moment.
Yeah, and Jacob Collins checks in. He says limited tanks, like 15 gallons and change. That's what I had figured. 70 might be a stretch. You're probably looking more like 60. And so I think these guys have all decided, look, we're just going to stand on it. There's no point in saving anything unless you just want to be the last person on pit road.
As we just saw with the most recent caution, there is a benefit to running long and maybe hoping for a caution.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what happened with me. I was able to stretch it. I had a lap on everybody in the field except for another guy that P1 viewers are pretty familiar with, Robert Malechka. We both got tires, and he beat me in a straight up knife fight. That was a lot of fun that day. But you can stretch it for a long ways, and this is one of the tracks too, Ryan, where fuel mapping. We're watching Yari Brubaker, Matt Wagner, Hugo Galez. This is one of those tracks where a lot of times you change the fuel map, you might get a lap or two. Indianapolis, I think there's 3 laps difference between map 4 and 5 and map 1. Here, you run map 3, 4, or 5. You can extend your run, even in a short tank. You can extend your run 10, 15 laps.
Yeah, because there are just so many acceleration moments, so to speak, during a stint where you go off the throttle and get back on. So just by adjusting the throttle map, you could get so much fuel back.
Yeah, and let's hop on board here with Matt Wagner, and we'll show you kind of what we're talking about. Here's Wags. He's humming along the front straight. He's going to touch 190. He's off the throttle and then back in it just like that. If you were saving fuel, you would come all the way out of the power here, and you might not accelerate again until the Sunoco side. Roll in and out very gently, trying to stay off the power. Eric Peterson has received a black flag, and he is also punched out of the number 36 machine. There it sits on pit road, so a tough evening, tough end to the evening for Eric Peterson in the Dark Horse Area 51 entry. Meanwhile, back at the front, Josh Ward has finally, after 76 laps of trying, Ryan, he's finally got by Frank Wynn. 65 to go, coming to get 64. He's finally made it to second, but Kyle Clinworth is 3.4 seconds up the road from Josh Ward.
Yeah, it's barely at the point where if you're sitting in that second place seat, you could barely see Clinworth.
Well, let's go ahead and check it out. We'll get on board with Josh Ward. And I see Kyle Clinworth, as Clindy would say. There he is. He's a spec. The entire back straightaway is the advantage for the number 11. That kid is fast. I shouldn't call him a kid, Ryan. He's only a couple of months younger than us.
Yeah, if you're Josh Ward, you kind of have to just, eyes forward, try to nibble off a tenth or two every lap. Just don't give up.
Yeah, and speaking of not giving up, and speaking of celebrities in the chat, how about a shout out to Jesper Orman staying awake late to help out his rogue racing teammate Kyle Clinworth. Those guys were together a lot today, doing a lot of testing in a lot of different places. A lot of telemetry got swapped back and forth, and somewhere along the line, I would be willing to bet that Jesper Orman, the old pro, had some words of wisdom for Clindy as we've got caution on the speedway. It's Alex Miller. Oh boy. So we've got some contact here between Alex Miller and Lith Fox. That's what's going to start this, Ryan, going into turn number 3. Miller, we're going to have a hard impact for Lith Fox. Miller drifts the car all the way through turn 3. He's almost got it made through turn 4. Still trying to save it. And Matt Wagner trying to turn down and not get into Hugo Galez kind of finishes it off there. I don't see a whole lot of contact and a whole lot of damage. Lith Fox has gone to the pit lane. Alex Miller does have the meatball. He must respect the meatball, and he'll bring it into pit lane. We do have a fast repair here in the Horizon IndyCar Series, and so Alex Miller will be able to affect that. Everybody is on pit lane, and we'll check out exactly who wins that race off of pit road. And this could be a break for the likes of Mark Cohn, Mason Mitchum. Mark Cohn and Mason Mitchum, they're going to get back on the lead lap. Jeff Heisong has elected to not come to pit road, has elected to come to pit road, and so Heisong will not be getting his back. But Cohn and Mitchum did come down pit, did elect to stay out.
Yeah, we're at the point in the race where stopping here, you have the end in sight stopping from this point on. So I could see why you might not want to try to get your lead lap back, but again, it is the lead lap.
It is the lead lap indeed. There you see Cohn. He would have been the recipient of the wave around, and so he's going to come back and take service this time, having caught the field, and so he's back on the leader lap. That leaves Jeff Heisong as the only machine one lap down. Matt Wagner, just of note, did not take his fast repair. So we watch Mark Cohn come in for service. Lith Fox, by the way, still sitting on pit lane. That car under repair. We'll get back to the front and we'll reset the field for you. Kyle Clinworth is your leader with 57 to go. Those are the cars of Mason Mitchum and the 44 of Turner Johnson. They will get waved around the pace car here. Josh Ward is second, Frank Wynn third, Yari Brubaker and Hugo Galez round out your top 5. Then it's going to be Surawak, Wheeler, Macias, Alex Miller, and Joseph Morales 6 through 10. Mark Cohn, Matt Wagner, and Mason Mitchum will be the final cars on the lead lap when we come to get the restart. Jeff Heisong is one lap down in 14th. He did elect to stop. Mitchum did stay out. Lith Fox is on the pit lane under repair. Turner Johnson is circulating, but 4 laps down. Eric Peterson has punched down to the number 36. He is going to be credited with 17th on the evening. So I got to ask the question, Ryan. How much do you think Jesper Orman taught Kyle Clinworth today about racing at Iowa? Because Jesper is a master of this place.
I assume that Jesper taught Clindy about 90% of what Clindy knows, but Jesper only taught him 50% of what he knows about Iowa.
I think I got that same lesson coming here. Back to the green flag action we go. Everybody files and funnels through turn number 1. There's turn number 2. On the back straight, the laps go by here so quick, Ryan. We've been in the session for 40 minutes. We're already 2/3 of the way done with this thing almost.
Wow. Yeah, it's hard to really think in how fast you took off the laps around Iowa. The idea of you going around any place faster than 20 seconds.
Yeah, it really is, as Eddie Cheever said, like trying to fly a jet fighter in a gymnasium. We're looking at Walter Macias right now. Walter is on the charge. He's got the sabers drawn. He's looking to the inside of Nick Wheeler. This is the battle for 7th and 8th. They've got Alex Miller, who was among the early leaders in 9th. He was involved in the collision that brought out the last caution. He's come to pit lane, effected the fast repair, and he is looking to the outside of this battle, but it's a good one between Macias and Wheeler for 7th and 8th. My goodness, Ryan, I didn't realize I was going to get my tongue tied in a knot this evening.
I mean, seeing these cars, loop around here, it's hard not to get your tongue tied.
Big sin for Alex Miller to the inside. Big sin, and he'll move it to 8th.
It is definitely a case of people were waiting for a caution to come out and really bunch everyone back up together to try to make a move, get a position before we start this last run of the flag.
Yeah, Josh Ward is keeping right with Clindy. Clindy was over 1/10 to 2/10 of a second quicker than Ward in that last run before the caution. He's still marginally faster, but it's nothing like the huge advantage he was building earlier. We're watching the battle between Alex Miller and Nick Wheeler. This is 7th and 8th. It is the closest on the speedway. Do want to thank everybody in the audience for being here, and do thank you so very much. Do want to point out that YouTube analytics say about half of you have not subscribed to the channel. So if you could, smash the like button on the video. Make sure you ring the bell to subscribe. We're on our march to 1,000, and no, I will not be repainting Kyle Clinworth's machine when we get there. But he has vowed that he is going to do something special. And as I was going to say earlier, Ryan, I love the month of May in this community, because that's when you see a lot of the special schemes come out, is for Indianapolis.
Yeah, it's sort of, bringing out your Sunday's best for May.
It most certainly is, and people don't realize this. Our month of May started today, actually. The iRacing Indy 500 is less than 30 days. We will have the top split broadcast of both the Open and the fixed race right here on the P1 Broadcasting Network. And so we're excited about that too, Ryan. A lot of Indianapolis is upcoming. I think we go there twice in the Open Series here pretty shortly. I know many of the series that we broadcast are going to be there in May, including this one, right? We're going to be at Indianapolis May the 7th for the finale. We continue to watch Alex Miller right on the gearbox of the number 88 machine of Nick Wheeler. Get on board, and we'll show you what this looks like as Miller goes for the pass on the inside. Just can't quite make it stick. He's got to get out of the gas to avoid running in the back of Wheeler.
Yeah, that's something you see more often in the fixed series races here in Iowa, where you have a slightly larger field, where you have that convergence line from the exit turn 4. Everyone kind of moving up towards the wall, and the car on the inside is normally the one that has to back out of it.
It looks extremely wide from the cockpit even, and it looks really wide from the perspective of our spectators. I can assure you that the exit of turn 4, huge run for Miller. Here he goes. He's going to have another dive. And I think he's got him cleared this time. He'll pull up on he'll pull up on Nick Wheeler. Wheeler's thinking about trying to do the crossover, but I don't think he's close enough. And even if he is, I think Miller's going to have him trapped right down there on the bottom. Move Alex Miller to 7th, Nick Wheeler back to 8th.
Yeah, it was a smart move by Miller to hold station in that middle line, kind of throw up a bit of dirty air to secure his position.
Most certainly does. Mike Rigney checking in. He wants to know if that's Mark Cohn. It's been a while since we've seen him. Yes, sir. MC is running along in 11th. There he is. He got a lap down on a pit cycle earlier, Rigney. He got his lap back, and he's running along in 11th place, right behind his good buddy Matt Wagner. They are 10th and 11th. So, all in all, considering it's been a pretty long time since we've seen Cohn in any sort of an open-wheeled machine, it's been at least since Dark Horse, the DW12 series, that we've seen him in any sort of an IndyCar, and that's been, golly, that was over the summer last year. We did the 2,000-mile ride. It's been a while for him. But it's good to see him, all things considered. And Ryan, you know what Mr. Cohn's hobby is, don't you?
No, I'm not familiar.
So he is known throughout the community as the Watchman, and Mark sponsors a lot of these races through his habit. He manages to make a little money on the side with it. He recently presented, for winning the Indianapolis round of the Dark Horse 2,000-mile ride, 500 miles at the Speedway. I got a nice citizen watch, and for a recent championship, he presented me with a Tag Heuer Indy 500, and so good man, Mark Cohn. But that's his thing. He collects watches.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yes, sir. Known as the Watchman, but you're right, Mike. It is nice to see him in the right car again. He's been running a lot of sedans, smaller Formula cars, Formula Fords, things like that. Good to see him in a big car again. This is the battle that will not go away. This is second and third.
They cannot drive away from each other.
They can't. Kyle Clinworth has driven away from these two. Josh Ward and Frank Wynn have been no further than 6 feet apart for this entire event. Wynn had that position at one point. Ward got past him with a magnificent dive into turn number 1, and was able to shut Ward off. But now Frank Wynn's working that high side, and I think it's only a matter of time before he might get back by here, Ryan.
Well, can you make that middle lane work?
That's kind of how you have to do it. If you're going to pass somebody on the bottom here, you don't pass them on the bottom. You need to pass them in the middle, right? So lane 2 is where you make the pass on the bottom, not the very bottom, just because you lose so much momentum slowing the car down to get there. Frank Wynn all over the wall. If he didn't hit it there, you couldn't have fit a piece of paper in between Frank Wynn and the fence. But he is trying mightily, and that's brought Jari Brubaker up into this battle. Jari was more than a second behind these two. He's going to stick his note in the fight. He wants a podium.
And yeah, when you add a third car into this mix, it's normally a headache for the last guy in, because at that point there's a lot of dirty air, and it's hard to find a clean line to try to poke your way past.
Here comes Jari. He's on the bottom of Frank Wynn. He's going to make the charge, but he can't make it stick. Wynn gets a huge run off the top. He's going to try Josh Ward here one more time. It looks like Frank's trying to get to the outside. Ward's holding the middle. He doesn't know which lane to block, and I think Brubaker might be the fastest of the three. He's going to dive to the inside of Wynn one more time.
God, too low.
Just can't make that bottom stick. I always found being in the middle the worst place to be. Just because you don't know, Ryan, you don't know which way to go. Do I try to pass the guy in front, or do I throw the dirty air at the guy behind me?
That is true. Normally I don't mind being in the middle, because I tend to have my eyes forward. If I'm fast enough to get ahead of the car in front of me, I'm not going to get past.
You're a better man than me, that's for sure. I tend to have problems being that middle car, but Frank Wynn, he is doing everything he can to get around Josh Ward. We'll hop on the roll bar of the bright pink and teal machine, the bright pink and baby blue Japan confectionery machine. My goodness. They are all over each other. Now, Ward's going to have to be careful. There's that bump I was talking about in turn number 1. You got to be really careful when you hit that thing to let the car land in such a way that you don't have a lot of wheel in it. It will turn you loose. Josh Ward, though, he's begging for trouble. He's going to have Frank Wynn head to his inside.
As we say that, Lindworth has made his way past the lap car, and that means this trio is heading right towards that lap car.
Yes, I believe that is Turner Johnson up there, still fighting it out. Looking back from the gearbox of Josh Ward, there you see him. Hugo Galez is the copper-colored machine in the background. Here comes Yari. He's going to make the dive to the inside to win. Can't quite make it stick. But here's the situation out the front. That's Turner Johnson, and though that's a lap car, the air that's coming off of that machine, it doesn't know any better, does it?
Yeah, it'll come across your wings whether you're on the lead lap or a lap down.
Yeah, there's Turner, and for his part, he's not doing anything wrong. But if you look out the roll bar, there he is. Is that Turner Johnson, or is that maybe Joseph Morales?
Yeah, it is Morales.
Yeah, let's give the fans the view off the back of Joseph Morales. That might be the best pictures we got of this 3-car fight for second, third, and fourth. This is off the back of the lap car in front. Josh Ward is going to go to the bottom. Now, Morales is doing the right thing. He's staying out of the way, trying to. He gets to the top side. He lets the leaders go, Yari. Mason Mitchum going to come through. Now, Mitchum, that's a fast car. It's just unfortunate that he was involved in an earlier fracas. He has also made his final stop. And so Mason Mitchum is a lap down, but he's come in. Jeff Hysong and Turner Johnson are also on the pit lane. So we've got green flag stops incoming as well here.
Yeah, green flag stops incoming, and we're coming up on 16 to go.
Make that 14 to go. We've got a fight now. The question becomes: it's very clear that it's very clear to me that Mason Mitchum took tires. If you're at the front of this train, are you gonna take tires? Are you gonna get gas only? We know you've probably got to stop.
It probably depends on when you're coming in. If you're coming in with, say, 10 or less to go, don't take tires. To take fuel, it's not worth it. If you're coming in 2 laps, yes, take tires.
There you go. We're going to flip back to the battle between Matt Wagner and Nick Wheeler. Wags has gotten past Wheeler. That is going to be for 7th and 8th. We're going to train our eyes, though, back at the front. We haven't talked about him because he is absolutely bearing the field. Back to 0.3 of a lap quicker is Kyle Clinworth. He has built a 5.9 second advantage over Josh Ward, but does he have the fuel to make it? And maybe we get some intelligence. Maybe Jesper Warman is spotting this thing. Jacob Collins, somebody in the audience. Does Clindy have the fuel to make it? He's been out 48 laps. He's got 10 laps to go. That would put him right on the edge of about what we think is possible, Ryan.
Yeah, unless he realizes how large this lead is, and he's going to just start eking the throttle a bit more, trying to conserve.
Well, as he comes to get the 50th lap on his current run, he's got two lap cars in front of him. That's going to be the 44 of Turner Johnson and the number 55 of Walter Macias. There goes Clindy. He's going to get under Walter. Collins chimes in. What's the fun in opening the Book of Secrets? I think he forgets I have access to that Book of Secrets sometimes, but it's an interesting game of poker. Who is going to stop? Who is not going to stop? Mitchum has been out 16 laps. He is 3 laps in arrears. However, He is on the freshest tires, and he is about 0.2 of a lap quicker than the leader, Kyle Clinworth.
It is. It's not worth. If you can make it to the end, it's not worth coming in at this point. Just trying to ride it out.
No, I mean, I would say with 5 laps to go, I think if you're going to stop, you would have already done it. There's coming in for a gas and go with 1 to go isn't going to be the ticket. But with 5 laps to go, Kyle Clinworth, 4 laps to go, if he can make it to the white flag, he has such a big lead, he would be able to coast from home if indeed the fuel is close on board that number 11.
Oh. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some coasters out of 4.
I would not be surprised either, and that's why we're going to hop up and watch the end of this thing from Barney the Flagman. We're watching the number 11, Kyle Clinworth. 5.9 seconds is the advantage over Josh Ward that last time by. We're going to take a look at the telemetry for Clindy. And you can kind of tell how hard he's going just by the trap speed at the end of the straightaways. Only 185 miles an hour. We've seen him touch 190 down the back. Same on the front. Clindy is, well, he's got decent trap speed at the end of the front straight. But he's already got the white flag. Ryan Eric King, it's been a dominant night for Kyle Clinworth.
Yeah, after the last 2 rounds did not go his way, hopefully he has enough fuel to make it to the end.
He's got the, Barney has the checkered flag in hand. Kyle Clinworth is going to take the win. And we just now have Josh Ward cross the line in second. Jari Brubaker 4th. Matt Wagner 5th. Frank 4th. Frank Wynn falls all the way to 5th. My goodness gracious.
And
here's
got this in under an hour.
I was going to say I thought there was your coaster, but it wasn't a coaster. It was the winner. For tonight's Horizon IndyCar Series race at the Iowa Speedway, Kyle Clinworth is going to be your winner. Massive margin of victory over Josh Ward. Jari Brubaker is going to round out your podium. Matt Wagner charges at the end to claim 4th. He had been on the back half of the top 10 most of the night. Solid recovery for him. Frank Wynn falls to 5th. Hugo Gallo 6th. Andrew Surwack 7th. Nick Wheeler 8th. How about Mark Cohn? Gets back in the car after a long absence and brings it home with a top 10 finish. In 9th, Alex Miller, early leader. Contact put him in the back. He'll come home 10th. Walter Macias 11th, Joseph Morales 12th, Mason Mitchum 13th, Jeff Hysong 14th, Turner Johnson in 15th, out of the race, Lith Fox in 16th, Eric Peterson in 17th. All right, Mr. Ryan Eric King, what do you say we get some of the drivers up here, huh? See if we got, see who we've got.
Don't have anyone quite yet.
Not quite yet.
Yeah, I'm looking into the waiting room, and it seems like our podium trio have not arrived.
Well, there they are. We've got Jari Brubaker. He is in a general voice channel, so we're going to go ahead and put him there. Give him a second to finish his thoughts, and then we're going to go ahead and pull him on up. Jari, you've got Mark and Ryan Eric King in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy, sir? Jari Brubaker, you've got Mark and Ryan Eric King in the P1 broadcasting booth. You have a copy? Yari, you've got
I'm
Mark.
not sure if you guys can hear me. I can't hear you, so I guess
There,
there's a bit of a problem.
there you go. Yari, can you hear us now? We're having some audio problems with the third place finisher, Yari
Now,
Brubaker.
now it's good. Now it's good. Now it's good. I
Now
can
it's
hear you
good.
guys.
Well, congratulations on your podium run. You're able to get by Frank Wynn there at the end, but you Frank and Josh Ward had a titanic duel for positions 2 through 4 for most of the afternoon. Kind of tell us how you wound up with the third spot.
Yeah, that was a good battle there. The first half of the race I spent pretty much by myself, just looking at the guys racing in front of me. But then I think I found a little something with the anti-roll bar, and that helped me turn in a lot better. And then yeah, second half of the race it was a good battle. I saw Frank was really trying to get second place, and that opened the possibility for me to get a run on him, which at some point I was actually able to take. Like dirty air was really brutal, but I think it got better. I don't know if if the wind or something changed, or if it was just my setting change, but like in the end the car felt well, and but it was really difficult to get past George there since he also had clean air. So, but I'm happy with P3.
Ryan?
Considering the nature of the race, and we really didn't see as many cautions as we're used to seeing at Iowa, especially in with a slightly reduced field. What was your pit strategy going in? Because us in the booth, we were wondering what you guys were thinking, especially with limited fuel tanks.
Yeah, I knew that probably like entry into the pits would be quite difficult here, since it's a bit slippery down there on the apron in turn 4, and so my goal was basically to just run as long as I could on all the runs, to not like get caught up in or caught out in some problems with people pitting and then the caution flying and me being a lap or two down.
That makes sense. Trying to just avoid a situation of falling off the lead lap as much as possible.
Exactly, and since I was like in P5 much of the race, and like I felt I was close enough to the front that I wasn't gonna take any gambles or so by short pitting. So yeah, but then I think quite directly before the first caution flew, like I think we were all going to come to the pits, so that changed a bit of the entire race strategy, especially then with the last caution, where basically everybody knew they could make it to the end with the fuel tank we had.
Well, excellent run tonight, Yari. You're a veteran of these wars. You know what to do. You get on the podium. You get the mic. Friends, family, sponsors, shout-outs. The floor is yours, sir.
Well, I just want to thank everybody racing here, everybody watching, like, and everybody involved. It's really fun to race here, and that was really a good time I had here racing. Maybe it was also because of P3, but I enjoyed.
Well, we certainly enjoy having you, sir. We will see you, I believe, in a couple of weeks or next week.
I think 2 weeks.
Is-
Right? Or
is it-
next week? You're right. You're right. It's next week.
Yeah, we're going to Atlanta. That'll be a ton of fun. We'll see you there, my man. Keep going fast and
All
having
right.
fun.
Take care. Bye bye.
That's going to be Yari Brubaker. And we're going to go ahead and bring in second place finisher Josh Ward. And Josh, you were also involved in that tussle with Frank Wynn and Yari Brubaker for most of the race. What do you think it would have taken to have gotten to Clinworth? He seemed to have a gear that nobody else had this evening.
30 laps of clean air and saving tires instead of battling each other. Yeah, we were like 20-something% less than he was on the right front. So, yeah, that was pretty much it. This is just a case of very, very, very tight car, and you just run the wall and keep people behind you. Hate to race like that, but it's just kind of a necessary evil in this kind of configuration.
It most certainly is. The track can definitely lend itself to that kind of racing. Mr. Ryan Eric King, what do you have for Josh Ward this evening?
Yeah, considering how you were pretty much in a battle for nearly the entire race distance, did it feel any more difficult to try to drive away once you got in the second, or did you just know that this was the fight I'm in? I'm just gonna have to deal with it.
Once I got to second in that first run, I think it was gonna be okay. If it would have stayed green, I think I probably would have been okay because I was saving tires. But I knew he was burning his stuff up way more than I was willing to in that second run, and I just had to kind of keep him behind me, and ended up burning my stuff up a little bit too much there for the end. So just bad scenario and timing with the caution and everything. Really wish the race would have went all the way green because it probably would have turned out a little bit different. But overall, I mean, no contact with anybody, so I'm happy.
Well, congratulations on the second place. Heck of a run. You know the drill, my man. Friends, family, sponsor, shout outs. The floor is yours.
Yep. Run with the Votive guys. I like that league a lot, and of course Horizon for putting all this on. Matt does a really good job of organizing everything. So, you guys as always, and just the whole community, pretty good guys to race with. So, yeah, just overall the whole community.
They most certainly are indeed. Keep going fast and having fun, Josh. We'll see you next week at Atlanta.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. We'll get Josh back in the waiting room, and the guy that I think everybody that remains in the broadcast chat would like to hear from. That's tonight's winner, Kyle Clinworth. Clindy, you get the trifecta: pole, fastest lap, win the race. Did you hit blackjack at the casino on the way out of here too?
I hit a grand slam, Murph. I pulled up into Dunkerton, Iowa, where the Field of Dreams is, and just cracked one right out of the left field with the bases loaded. I led every lap, had the pole, had the fastest lap, won the race. What do you expect when I'm surrounded by corn? Corn gives me my energy!
Expect this kind of performance from Joseph Newgarden.
You know, you almost would, and Clindy is probably our...
I'm a superhero, and Joseph Newgarden's a super villain. So, you know, when Roger Penske grows the common sense to put me in a Penske racing automobile, I will slap the britches off of Joseph Newgarden here in Iowa in real life, anytime, any day. Straight up, give me the same equipment. That guy's toast.
We'll have to send that video to the captain. Ryan, what do you have for Clindy? I know you've got a dozen questions or more.
Well, this is certainly a return to form after the past couple rounds. When did you know that it was your race to, well, lose, so to speak?
When the first caution came out, if the whole race had gone green, I would have had to stop for gas on lap 68, and I would have been 2 to 3 to 4 laps short of one stopping, whereas I'm pretty sure everyone behind me would have been fine. So I was just kind of hoping we'd get a caution eventually.
See, we were trying to get that out of Collins in the chat, and he wouldn't tell us. So you're gonna have to work on your PR man down there a little bit.
Well, I don't even see him in... Oh, there he is. What's the fun in opening the book of secrets? All right, yeah. 15... We had 15 and a half gallons, basically. So 70 was, like, really hard to hit as the leader. 70 laps. If you're following someone, it's hard, but not really hard. And if you're in a pack, it's just moderate, right? And I really wanted to lead all the laps tonight, and I got lucky when the yellows fell. I kind of am bummed that it did not go green after the first yellow, because I wanted to see how high up through the field I could lap. Just because the last run, man, I was playing with my food. I just sat right, just like I did in Isra to you. I sat a second, and a third in front of Josh Ward just until I was like, okay, I can go and push as hard as I want and won't burn my stuff up before the end of the race. And I gapped him by 5 seconds in the last 15 laps. So if I had done that 20 laps sooner, like maybe could have lapped all the way up to Wagner, maybe to Frankie. But, you know, I just didn't need to run any faster than that to win the race. And there's no point in showboating because, you know, I'm eating a bunch of corn, brother.
Indeed you are, Clindy. And with that giant diet of corn comes the mic. Friends, family, sponsors, shout outs. I think your entire family is in here. So shout out to them. The floor is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. So shout out to the Votive Racing League. We race on Sundays. The championship finale is this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be racing against Edson Santos head-to-head. I have a 2-point lead. So basically, whoever finishes in front of the other one wins the championship, more or less. Maybe if I win the pole, I can finish 2 spots behind him, depending on if it's like 5th or 6th or back. But basically, if we're anywhere sniffing the front of the field, it's going to be winner take all. So shout outs to Shane Coker, who runs that league, and shout out to Wagner for running this league and having us all here and putting Iowa in this scorching hot daytime, because holy smokes, was that a blast. I love holding on for dear life. I love managing my stuff. I love running at a measured pace, being a smart race car driver. Those things are all rewarded here, and that's very much fun for me. Shout out to everyone on Rogue Racing and our affiliate and alliance teams. We're cooking up something really cool for the 500. We did a 2-hour test today, and I'm very optimistic about the piece we have. I think we're going to have a pretty big month of May. We have a couple more secrets to unlock to get those last few hundreds, but I think if I can figure out how to qualify at that rectangle, we're going to have some pretty cool top split broadcasts with a lot of Rogue Racing and friends up front, I hope. We'll see. Shout out to Segerman Farms. We're in Iowa, but the best corn is grown in Illinois, brother. Drive 6 hours west on I-80 from right here in Newton, and you end up in Minunk if you go north on I-39 for about 20 minutes. But anyhow, from there, you can buy some of the best corn, Wiffle hybrids, or have my cousin Craig Segerman deliver to you a heavy-duty industrial septic machinery. So give me a call or give me a shout, and I'll get you in touch with Craig. He'll give you a call and get it all sorted out. I got the team and then the channel, P1 Broadcasting. We're up to 933 subscribers, just 67 to go, and we'll be able to be at our monetization mark, which is awesome. And then shout outs to all my friends and family in chat. I see a lot of my teammates, a lot of my dearest friends, some of my closest family, all in there. I know that everybody is probably celebrating my Grand Slam just as hard as I am, but I'm just gonna have some corn puffs or corn flakes and eat some more corn and just grow ever stronger, because that's what you do when you're in Iowa.
There you go, Clindy. Enjoy the corn, my man. Keep going fast, having fun. We'll see you in this series next week at Atlanta.
Yes, sir. I went as fast as I could and had as much fun as I could. I had a blast today. Thank you, Wagner.
Absolutely. And that is the winner, Kyle Clinworth. And just speaking on that schedule, it's going to be a ton of fun to close this thing out, Ryan. We are looking at 3 of my favorite tracks to go to, but for different reasons. Atlanta, and it's the old wore-out, nasty Atlanta that eats the tires. We're going to be there next Wednesday. We're going to take a week off, and then we're going to go to Nashville. And Nashville is a track very similar to this one. You got to manage your tires. You got to be on top of your stuff. You got to work those tools. And then the finale at the granddaddy of them all, 100 laps, 250 miles at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to decide the 12-round championship. Ryan, I can't wait, my man.
It is certainly a run to the finish. The title race certainly is not over. Anything could happen if the past couple of weeks haven't taught you that already.
The past couple of weeks have definitely taught me a whole heck of a lot. So that's the remainder of the the Horizon IndyCar Series schedule for us on the P1 Broadcasting Network. We've got our sister station going tonight. They've got the Formula Indy Series live on Gary's side of the channel, and so if you want to see IndyCars race to Formula One rules, you can check him out. You also can check us out tomorrow night. It'll be Sam Crow and I. We'll be live for the American Motorsports Association. That's the AMA Black Magic Studios Xfinity Series, Grand National Series. It'll be followed up the next night by the Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series. Both of those races kick off the broadcast at 7:50 for the pre-race, 8:05 start. We will have the top split broadcast on Monday night. That'll be Clindy and I. Tuesday, we'll be back with the flagship. That's the Indy Oval top split. And again, Wednesday, we'll be right back here on the P1 Broadcasting Network. Same time, same bad channel. We do want to thank all of our friends and family and all of the viewers out there who are watching us. We also do want to thank all of the first responders, the military, the firefighters, the EMTs, the policemen that do the hard work in the middle of the night so that we can sleep safely in our beds. Ryan, that was domination, but I need to go dominate my pillow. I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm going to drink a corn tonight.
Maybe next week we'll have some corn, and we will see you next week. Good night, everybody.